In May, a grand jury indicted 18 people on accusations they conspired to overturn the 2020 presidential election results. And over the summer, all of them pleaded not guilty in a Phoenix court to numerous felony charges. Attorney General Chris Mays is expected to reveal the name of the person who turned state's witness next week. Of those indicted, 11 are from Arizona and 7 have a more national profile, like former New York Mayor and Donald Trump's former attorney, Rudy Giuliani. The defendants also include 2 sitting Republican state senators, Jake Hoffman from Queen Creek and Anthony Kern from Glendale. The former chairwoman of the Arizona Republican Party, Kelly Ward, and her husband, Michael Ward, were also indicted. Specifically, they are accused of trying to falsely block the certification of Democrat Joe Biden's 2020 victory in Arizona. And this is a significant development. Lawyers tell me that flipping a witness strengthens the AG's case and could lead to other defendants willing to testify on behalf of the state. In the newsroom, Dennis Welch, Arizona's Family.